Early when you signed, one of the players we heard you compare to was Rafael Devers. I'm more interested to hear who you would compare yourself to.
Bueno,
Yeah, Rafael Devers is a great player in this game, but I think that in time I can pass Rafael Devers. I don't compare myself to anybody else. I am who I am. So at the end of the day, yeah, Rafael Devers is a great player, but I have to focus on being myself.
Welcome to Meet at the Apple, presented by PC Richards & Son. I'm Vito Calise. This is Jonathan Barron. And John, we got a special episode for the peoples today.
We do. Today's a special day here at Citi Field. The Mets are giving their player development awards. And last year we had a chance to sit in this very room with Brandon Sproat, who is already making a contribution at the major league level, and Nick Morabito, who we are excited to see making a contribution at the major league level pretty soon after another great season for Nick. But today we are chatting with a couple younger guys. We had a chance to catch up with Elian Peña, the DSL Position Player of the Year winner, and Osiris Calvo.
Oh, I'll just pick it up. And Osiris Calvo, the pitcher of the year. So just two really exciting guys. And before we talk a little more, I do want to take a second to remind everybody, guys, if you're listening to this podcast, we really appreciate it when you like, subscribe, give us a 5-star review. Seriously, it goes such a long way for help us growing the show, help us give you more content. So if you have a chance, you could do it while you're listening. You could just go over before these interviews start, leave a review, give us 5 stars, and it helps us out a lot. But yeah, John, I mean, like you said, Brandon Sproat up here already. Nick Morabito making a big impact into the Binghamton Rumble Ponies playoff push. We're recording this before Game 2, so we don't know the outcome of that yet. But big shout out to the Cyclones, who just won their championship last night, which, I mean, it shows you. We talked about this on Future of Flushing, the trickle-up theory in full effect, and we're really starting to see it pay off.
Yeah, this organization is flush with talent, and the Mets have been graduating a lot of that talent. Nolan McLean, Brandon Sproat, Jonah Tong, all in the Mets starting rotation right now. A number of guys at AAA that, before you know it, will be helping the Mets win. Guys like Jet Williams, Carson Bench, AA featuring guys like A.J. Ewing and Jacob Reimer. These are all guys that in any organization could be a player of the year for the Mets this year. There were so many deserving candidates. Of course, the Mets have one position player of the year overall, one pitcher of the year. So those winners being Jonah Tong, Carson Bench. But like you said, the trickle-up effect, there are guys at each and every level to be excited about that will be making an impact. These two youngsters, before you know, will be stateside. We'll be talking about them more and more. There will be more coverage of these guys. And today it was really neat to get a chance to chat with them. So, Vito, I think we should toss to the interviews.
Yeah, well, why don't we start off? First one, here's an interview we did with Elian Peña. Welcome to Meet at the Apple, presented by PC Richards & Son. I'm Vito Calise. That's Jonathan Barron. And today with us is the Mets 2025 Player of the Year from the Dominican Academy, from the Dominican League, that the Mets are really proud to have here today. And Elian, just first off, what's it like to be here today at Citi Field?
Yeah, so to start, I'm very happy. First and foremost, I want to give thanks to God for this opportunity. But so far, I really enjoyed my time here in New York, being my first time, but it's also going to be my first of many times that I'm going to be here in New York.
Well, we love to hear that, and we were all excited to hear the news that you were signing with the Mets. And you're a very highly sought-after prospect. A lot of teams were interested in signing you, but you chose the Mets, and I'm wondering what it was about the New York Mets that made you want to become a member of the organization.
I think the treatment of just the organization was what stood out to me. This is an organization that's in the top of the class from top to bottom. This is the type of organization that rides with their players and continues to support their players, whether they're good or bad. Maybe there are other organizations that may give up on a player, but this isn't the type of organization that does that. This is the type of team that continues to look out for their players, and it's just going to continue to do that through the good and bad times.
Early when you signed, one of the players we heard you compare to was Rafael Devers. But I'm more interested to hear who you would compare yourself to.
Yeah, Rafael Devers is a great player in this game, but I think that in time I can pass Rafael Devers. I don't compare myself to anybody else. I am who I am. So at the end of the day, yeah, Rafael Devers is a great player, but I have to focus on being myself.
Now, you showed your full abilities. You had a bit of a slow start when the season began, and then you turned it on. You finished with an OPS above 900, and you had not one, but 2 games with 3 home runs hit. So what helped the turnaround, and which of your 3 homer games did you enjoy more, your first 3 homer game or your second 3 homer game?
Both games meant a lot to me. I think they were good for my career, good for my growth. But I think what turned my season around was the discipline, the hard work, and the perseverance that I didn't give up in those bad moments, that I kept my head high, and I just continued to fight. And I think that was the biggest difference for me to turn my season around.
Do you think you learned anything about yourself with that early struggle? Because, like, you're young. You're probably somebody who, on the baseball field, that was maybe some of the first struggle you'd faced. But just in that adversity, being able to get to the other side and just go off like that.
Bueno, aprendí de mí mismo que.
I learned a lot about myself, especially in a moment like that. And I learned that I'm not going to give up, that no matter how hard the time is going to be, I'm not going to give up. I'm never going to give up on myself. I'm going to continue to work, and I'm going to continue to do everything that I need to do. During those moments, I still went to the gym. I still hit. My head was held high, and I said, it doesn't matter what happens, that tomorrow's another day. So tomorrow can be a better day. So that's kind of the way that I was able to put into perspective each and every day.
Well, that's definitely the mentality you have to have playing this game. And a lot of guys, of course, have things that they do away from the field that helps keep them leveled. It can't all be about baseball. You got to have things that you enjoy. So what does Elian Peña like to do away from baseball? What are some of your hobbies and interests?
Yeah, so I play a lot of PlayStation off the field. I play a lot of GTA, Fortnite, NBA. Yeah, so I play a lot of that, but I also spend a lot of time with my family, because I do think that's the most beautiful and precious time that you can get is being around your family.
I heard from somebody, Rosario, told me that your favorite baseball player growing up was Carlos González. I just wanted to know, like, where that came from, what you see in him, and, like, the story behind that.
So I felt, so what happened was I ended up falling in love with his swing. So I would see it on YouTube, on TikTok, on Facebook, just everywhere. It was just such a pretty swing, but it was such a impactful swing. So I think that's kind of what stood out to me from him.
Carlos González was a great player back in 2015. Mets fans are hoping that you could one day make that kind of impact that a Carlos González made. And when you started your career in DSL, a lot of Mets fans in New York were keyed into what you were doing. How cool is it knowing that at such a young age, so many fans are already paying attention to you and excited about what the future might bring for yourself?
It feels good to have that support from the fans. From just the beginning, even in moments where I wasn't having the success that I wanted, I was a little bit frustrated. I would go to my room and I would be frustrated, and I would be sad about it. But the fans always supported me, and especially when I started playing well, that's really when they started showing out. But yeah, like when I was by myself in that room, I was feeling a little bit down. But when I would leave and I would go out into the public, I would always have my head held high. But no, I'm very thankful for the fans for supporting me from the very beginning.
A positive moment when you signed that contract, your first pro deal. What was it like, and what was the first thing you just treated yourself with?
Yeah, so for me personally, when I first signed, I bought myself a pair of sneakers that I wanted. Just a pair of sneakers that I liked. But after that, I just focused on the season and tried to do my best during the season. And after the season ended, I got my mom an SUV and I bought her a house.
The next step for you is coming stateside after your first season in DSL. So what are your thoughts on the challenge of coming stateside when that opportunity does come about for you?
I don't think there will be any challenges or any difficulties in coming to the States. At this point, I've already played my first season, and I know the type of ball player that I am. I know who I am as a person, so I know the necessary adjustments that I need to make as a player, but I don't think there will be necessarily any challenges.
And what are the big things you're going to be working on in the offseason?
Yeah, I think the most important part is to work on just my body and my physical. Going into the gym a lot, trying to get a lot stronger. We already started that, but yeah, I think that's been the most important area to continue to improve on.
And you're still very young, but what are some things that the Mets have done to help you when it comes to strength training and refining your game, your swing, defensively, in all aspects, and also off the field as a person that's becoming a man? How have the Mets helped you?
Bueno,
just the
los
Mets
Mets es
organization
una
as a
academia
whole is
completa.
just, especially in the academy, they're just world class. From the education is 1A, the nutrition, the strength training, everything that you need, the Mets have it. I can't speak for any other organization, but I know that the Mets, they take care of you. They take an interest in it specifically, and they get to know you. They really get to know you. So I think from top to bottom, the Mets have a world class organization.
Well, Elian, thank you so much for taking the time with you, and we're really happy to meet you and looking forward to seeing you stateside very soon. Really cool to meet Elian after we sat in this room talking to Rosario Chiavarro, the director of international scouting, and him describing Elian to us and us reading about him and then meeting him in person and seeing just what a confident kid he is.
Yeah, I mean, you think about the timeline, right? January 15th, international free agency signing day, and you see videos and you hear about this kid, and then the season starts and he struggles, and then you look up and he's OPSing over 900 and he has not one but 3 homer games, and he's walking as much as he's striking out, and it's very tough, especially in that league, to put up the kind of numbers that Elian Peña did, and to have him in this room, to have him here at Citi Field is really cool. And he talks a lot about the nutrition and strength training and all the Mets have done to help him grow to this point. And once the Mets player development staff gets their hands on him over here in the States, this kid has all the makings of the star that the Mets thought they were investing in, and the first year couldn't have returned better results. So excited about Elian Peña and so many of the other prospects that are currently percolating in the Mets player development system.
Percolating. Well, I love percolation because I love a mocha pot. That's how I make my espresso. But we're going to go into our second interview of the day. Osiris Calvo, interesting kid, interesting story. Battled back from injury, missing pretty much all of 2024 to go on this year to dominate and then win pitcher of the year in the organization. And a surprise to us, asked if he could do the interview in English, and you'll see, just always impressed when a guy, especially like a young guy, not only is able to do that, but like wants to do that and asks to do that, because it just shows you, one, the kind of help and the effect that the Mets organization has helping guys. Because the Dominican Academy, one of the big things they do is these guys get their degrees and they also get a lot of English lessons.
Yeah, you said it best. That's a huge part of what the Mets work on with guys is, teaching finance and teaching English and teaching a whole lot of other life lessons, because these guys at the age of 16 are really dedicating their lives to baseball. And, while kids, let's say here in America or around the world, are in high school and college and receiving educations, these guys are focusing on hopefully one day reaching the major leagues. So it's a huge part of, the academy, like you said. And I think a lot of fans overlook it, but that's why the Mets also have awards for the people that help these kids, because it is a big leap, especially to come from the Dominican Republic where these kids grew up, over to the United States of America. So Vito, let's toss the interview and then we'll wrap things up on the other side.
Welcome to Meet at the Apple, presented by PC Richard & Son. I'm Vito Calise, that's Jonathan Barron, and today we are joined by Osiris Calvo. And this is a really exciting day for you. You're here. You're one of the award winners for the Player Development Awards today. And just off the top, what's your experience in New York City been like this week?
Well, the experience was very good. I'm very excited. It's a great experience to be here with Elian and the other guys.
So Osiris, you are the Mets pitcher of the year in the DSL, a very hitter-friendly league, I think, a lot of runs scored, but you had a great season. Your ERA was under 3. What helped you be as successful as you were this season?
Well, I think it was the focus. I was focused in every season, and I work hard in every season.
And how tough was it battling back from an injury?
Oh, it was tough, but I work hard to come back and do my best.
And a lot of young players want to sign with the Mets because of their facilities and the coaching staff and a lot of the investment that the Mets have made into helping brighten their future. What's your experience been like with the Mets organization, especially with all they have to offer at the academy?
I think the facility in the Mets is the best. I feel good, and I can do my rehab with the best coaches, with the best trainers, you know.
Are there any players that you grew up idolizing that you think you model your game after?
When I was a kid and now I want to be like Clayton Kershaw.
Okay.
Yeah. I think he's the best. He's the best lefty.
For Mets fans who haven't watched you pitch yet, how would you describe yourself as a pitcher? What pitches do you throw, first of all?
I throw fastball, curveball, changeup, a slider. And I have my focus when I throw the ball, I think to, you know, attack the batter. I attack the ball with my fastball, and then I'll put away with my secondary pitches, you know.
And I know you said that Clayton Kershaw is someone who you try to emulate your game after, but when you were growing up on the island, you're from Santo Domingo.
Yeah.
Who were your favorite players growing up to watch?
Oh. I think it's a position player. Yeah, but
Who?
I love Manny Machado. I like
He's here today, you know.
Yeah. Manny Machado is a good third baseman, you know.
So, what's it like being at the Dominican Academy and kind of like the bonds you make with each other as you're coming up in the organization?
We are a family, you know. When we have a bad day, we need to, you know, we are a family. We to help us, help each other, you know. This is the form we made that.
Is there someone here today that you really, really want to meet and have a chance to talk to that you haven't had a chance to meet yet?
I want to meet all players, you know. I think all players are important.
And what's it just like being at Citi Field and seeing like what the future could hold?
Well, I gonna do my best in 2-3 years, and I see here I see me in this field one day. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but I think in the future, yes.
Cool. Well, thanks so much for joining us, and we're looking forward to following you along your journey.
Thank you.
All right, guys, thank you for joining us on this episode of Meet at the Apple. Appreciate it and hope, you know, I said it before, but if you have the chance, like, subscribe, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. That 5-star rating and actually writing out a review on Apple really goes such a long way. Like I said, if you want more player interviews, if you want more content, more behind-the-scenes stuff, help us out, help us grow the show, do that for us. But, yeah, Jon, I mean, another sick episode, and I'm excited for the people to see this one.
Yeah, and just overall to put a bow on this day here at Citi Field with the Player Development Awards, I still don't think enough credit goes to all the people that work so hard on a daily basis. And I'm going to shout out some people at the top that are very instrumental, but there are so many people that we might not mention right now, but are really, really putting in the work that is turning up in the box scores and these championships that we're seeing on the minor league level. Brooklyn, like you mentioned, winning it all. Binghamton one victory away as of Wednesday when we're recording this from reaching the championship round for the second time in the past 3 seasons in AA. But starts with Andy Green, VP of Player Development, who was a manager, was a player, and has come over here and has done an incredible job. Andrew Christie, Chris Gross on the scouting side, Drew Toussaint, so many other people that this is a destination for players, as we heard from the 2 guys that we had a chance to chat with today, and we've heard from so many other guys. We're seeing Nolan McLean, morphing into an ace of the Mets starting rotation. That's a guy that the Mets helped get to this point. The Mets taught him that pitch to get lefties out, making him major league ready. So many people up and down the organization. It is such a victory. And no matter what the outcome of this season is at the major league level, there is so much to be positive about. With the Mets organization, it is rich up and down, and the future is so bright for this organization, and they continue to add talent, and that's what is so exciting. So that's all well and good, and you know what else is all well and good is the kind of treatment that you guys can get at PC. Richard and Son, our good friends. You thought I'd forget, but I would never forget. They've got the absolute lowest prices, the best, most knowledgeable sales staff, whatever it is, guaranteed, and they've got everything you need as well. It's kind of like this Mets player development system. No matter what affiliate you go to, there's talent there. No matter what aisle of the store you go to, there's some great products that you want, and they will always have the lowest prices. Richard is reliable, and we know that because they have been doing it for longer than anybody else in the game since 1909. Our friends at PC Richard and Son. A great week here at Citi Field. Player Development Awards. Wow. Like I said, the future's bright. I'm pumped up, Vito.
Let's go, Mets. See you guys next time. Thanks for meeting us at the Apple.